I'm the Lonely Necron, and welcome to my basement. So I was looking back through my content, realized I hadn't done a gauntlet game in a while. I looked around the basement and realized a couple of heavy supports haven't actually gone through the gauntlet. So today we're going to do that. If you're new here, I do a gauntlet thing where I put a heavy support or a big Titanic or something, and it has to just move 4 feet. It'll get attacked along the way. Any faction that can field 2 heavy supports and 2 troops is eligible to participate, and yeah, they try and kill it before it goes 4 feet. That's pretty much all there is to it. So this tyrannofex has not gone through the gauntlet yet. That's what's going to happen to it today. So this 4 feet of street here, that's all it's got to do. Start here, end where the green paper ends. I mean, technically it's 50 inches, but yeah. So yeah. Normally there's only 1 or 2 teams that go. The orcs haven't participated in a while because, let's face it, orc shooting does suck. But they're back in it today. And then the Imperial Guard and the AdMech actually are throwing a team out, so it's a gauntlet quint today. Good times. Alright, so I'd like to state first that order of appearance is not order of going in the gauntlet. But, so for the first grouping here, we have the Necrons. So they have 2 10-man groups of the Gauss Reapers for their 2 troops. And then basically, 1 each of the Locust Heavy Destroyers and the Gauss Destructor for their 2 heavy supports. In most past gauntlets, these guys managed to kill the target. They're Necrons. I might be biased. Alright, so the Imperial Guard, I guess I hadn't realized it until about a week ago that I could separate the heavy ordnance into 2 separate heavy supports, so that's what's happening today. We've got 2 identical 10-man groups of Cadian shock troops. Each one has a grenade launcher and a flamer. And then we have the heavy las cannon and the Malleus rocket launcher. Based on what these guys have done to the orcs and the Tyranids, granted most of that was the Rogaldorn, but the las cannon and the rocket launcher I think did put on a pretty decent showing. So they might have a decent chance to kill the tyrannofex. I don't know. It's their first time. We'll see. Yeah, that's a sigh of deep suffering from my end. I love the orcs. I really, really do. Just their whole aesthetic is just awesome in my opinion. But they just really do suck a lot at shooting. They've never managed to kill anybody in a gauntlet thus far, but maybe they'll do it this time. You have 1 group of 10 boys with a rocket launcher, and then a group of 10 beast Naga boys with it's either the thump gun or the crump gun, one of the 2. It's an ump. Really, that's all you need to know, ump. So their heavy supports are the Death Dread with the twin scorches. The claws don't really matter. And then the Met gun with the bubble chucker. So I don't know, the bubble chucker does tend to do well in regular games, so will it be enough to kill off the tyrannofex? I don't know. The twin scorches might help, but I think there's only a 12-inch range on that, so I don't know. So for Night Lords, got 2 5-man groups of Space Marines, one of which has a autocannon, and the other one has a flamer, and then bolt guns, 2 each, and then bolt pistol chainsword, and the aspiring champions have plasma pistols, an obliterator, and then 5 havocs, 2 las cannons, a Reaper, Chain Cannon, and a Heavy Bolter for their heavy support. I just recently got the Havocs, so I used to run 2 Obliterators, 1 each, essentially. And they occasionally kill the opponent. They're kind of 50-50. I'm hoping they put on a decent showing. And then the AdMech. Got 3 Cataphront Breachers, 10 of the Skitarii Vanguard, and then we're 2 Castling Robots, 1 each, for their heavy support. These guys have also, this will be their first time. They're popping their cherry, as it were, along with the Imperial Guard over there. So I don't know how well these guys are going to do. I'm trying to remember how well they did against Tyranids in regular games. Vanguard might get something out of this. I don't know. I don't think they're going to do it, but we're going to find out because they're going to go first. So I'm going to set these guys up. I'll set that up at the starting line. And we'll see if they can actually manage to pull it off. Alright, so the tyrannofex is starting here. Vanguard are on the 2nd floor of this building. One of the castlings is over here on this one. Got the Cataphront Breachers on the middle side of the top building there. And the other Cataphront is up on the doorway, the hole, I guess, on the 3rd floor of that one. So as the ambushee, tyrannofex gets to go first. Not a whole lot of phases really for this kind of thing. The ambushee can move, advance, and shoot at things if it is able to. The ambushers can shoot. Once the target ambushee, whatever, is passed, if they want to move into the street and shoot at it, they can. I think I've only done that once and it was kind of weird, so I guess it'll just be a as situational kind of thing. So having said that, it'll be movement for this guy. Alright, well, the tyrannofex got one hell of an advance. Made it a little less than a third of the way up the board in one shot. Since he hasn't been shot at, he doesn't know anybody's there, so it's the end of his turn. Which makes it the AdMech Ambusher turn, where they get to shoot. And hopefully do a decent amount of damage to this Tyranid. Alright, so the ambushers didn't do too badly. The Vanguard didn't do anything. The Cataphront Breachers did a couple points of damage. Between the Castlins and the Cataphrons, they did 6 points of damage to it. It's still in the highest bracket, so it's not a terrible thing. But that does mean that the tyrannofex is now aware of all of the ambushers, so that'll make it its movement turn. Alright, so instead of advancing, the tyrannofex just moved forward. And then it shot its acid spray. Now, this Castellan over here did a decent amount of damage to it, but didn't kill it. So, well, it wasn't terrible then. It's made it about halfway up the board, so yeah, it'll probably make it all the way, I think. We'll see what the Adeptus Mechanicus does in their shooting phase here. So 5 of these Vanguard were able to shoot at it, but it saved against all of their wounds. This thing didn't do a single thing to it, even though it had auto hits. I mean, to be fair, this thing's got a 7 toughness, so it's a 5 to wound for most of these guys. These guys didn't do anything, it actually saved against their attacks. This guy did 1 point of damage to it. The only damage that was done to it the entire experience so far. Well, for this particular round. Which means that the tyrannofex is now free to move forward again and probably acid spray somebody. I really do like the acid spray. It's such a great little weapon. I mean, who cares if it's a heavy attack? You know, if you got onslaught, you can just make that not a problem at all. So the tyrannofex made it another 10 inches down. Adreno lands. I always forget about that. And also used his acid splash to kill off the castling robot that was hanging out up here. Oh yeah, this guy's probably making it. Unless these guys can kill it this turn because he's out of range of this castling and these vanguard. So I don't think that's gonna happen, but anything is possible really. We'll see if these cataphrans can kill it. So the breachers did put up a good chance of the shooting thing here, but they only managed to do 3 damage to it, which does put it down on the second bracket, so it might not escape on its movement, we'll see. But it is its movement. Alright, so the tyrannofex had to advance, but it did indeed make it out. So against the admech, it survives. Ugh, well, you know, I'm not lying. I didn't actually expect these guys to kill it, so yeah, it is what it is. But this does set up the idea for this thing against some armature warglaives, so there's that. Alright, I'm gonna reset the tyrannofex and set up for the next grouping. Not sure yet who that's gonna be, but I guess we'll discover together. Alright, so I reset the tyrannofex back here at the start. And we're going to go with the Imperial Guard for this next one. So one group of 10 shock troops up on this building. The other group of 10 on top of that one. Got the missile launcher up on this third floor. And the las cannon way down there. Kind of dangling, kind of precariously, but it's there. Gonna pretend it's some sort of helicopter thing. Left it up there, got it up there. Either way, that's where the Imperial Guard is. So we'll start this guy moving down the street again. No, he got a much better advance roll on his first turn last time. Got a really crappy advance roll on this one, so he didn't get very far. So now it's time to spring the ambush and have the Imperial Guard shoot. So I've already put the Imperial Guard up against the Tyranids in a regular game. And the Imperial Guard did win that. And they're kind of, feels kind of like they're repeating the experience here. The las cannon down there at the end did 12 points of damage to this thing. So yeah, he got really messed up. He's on the lowest end of the middle bracket, so these guys might actually kill this thing. Everybody else shot and missed for the most part. I thought this thing was T7 and I was looking at strength instead of toughness. This thing's T8. That makes a lot of these guys terrible. Alright. Well, it is the tyrannofex turn to move forward again. Maybe get some shots off. The tyrannofex moved forward a little bit. And then acid sprayed the rocket launcher unit that used to be here and killed it off completely. Now granted, these guys didn't even damage it last time, but now they want to have a chance to do it again. Having said that, it does make it the Imperial Guard's turn to shoot. We'll see what the las cannon can have equal effect this time around. Well, the las cannon failed to replicate his excellent rolling skills. It was kind of bad. But this grenade launcher guy right here actually managed to do a point of damage to this guy with a crack grenade, which was probably the first time a grenade launcher, I think, has done damage. I'd have to go back and watch the other videos, but I think it is. So he's now down to the bottom bracket. It is his turn to move though. Good times there. With his diminished movement capacity, he still moved forward his max distance without advancing. Did an acid spray on these shock troops. Killed 4 of them and then 2 of them ran away. Alright, so he just made it past the halfway mark. But it is the Imperial Guard's turn to shoot at him. So the las cannon here killed off the tyrannofex. Huh. Well, that's cool. You know, they replicated what they did when they faced against them. I guess I was just hoping that the Admech would have been able to kill them, but the Imperial Guard are turning out to be quite the unit. Even without the battle tank, these things still managed to kill a tyrannofex. I mean, granted, it was all this thing and 1 point of damage from that grenade launcher, but these guys are really good at kicking ass. Definitely gonna have to build these guys up a lot. Alright, so, Imperial Guard, they won that one. I'll put these guys away, set up the tyrannofex, and we'll do it for a third time. So the tyrannofex has once again been reset back here at the beginning. We're gonna go with Night Lords for this sortie. Got the Havocs up here on the 3rd floor of this building. Next to them we have the Obliterator. On the 3rd floor of this building we have the autocannon unit. Then down in the alley down here with being brave little dudes, we got the Flamer unit. Alright, so the unaware, even though he's done this 3 times now, you'd think he'd be pretty aware. But the unaware tyrannofex is gonna go first and move down the street. So the guy who I borrowed these Tyranids from, they came with Tyranid dice, and they're definitely rolling ishy today. I mean, like the first game he got like a really good advance, and the last game he did not, and this game he got like a really good advance. Made it practically a third of the way across the table in 1 shot. Like, he's a really big guy, you wouldn't think he'd move all that fast. I don't know. Alright, well it's time to get shot at, so we'll do some Night Lord shooting. So the Havocs and the Obliterator over there, the right side of the street, managed to actually do 6 points of damage to this guy. The left side of the street, which is pretty much just the autocannon, didn't really do anything at all. Alright, so now that the tyrannofex is aware of these guys, it's going to be his turn. Alright, so the big giant bug moved forward a decent ways, sprayed acid on the Obliterator that was over here and just melted him. Yep, he's definitely getting his own back, killing people off here and there. Unfortunately for him, that does make it the Night Lord's turn for shooting. Well, it seems like the Chaos Space Marines have gone monster hunting today because it took all of these Havocs, the autocannon, and all the bolt guns, you know, this entire squad. But they did manage to do the damage needed to kill this thing off. So that means the Night Lords also win their entry in this one. So I was worried there when the Obliterator died. That thing does the most damage for the most part in most of my regular games. Alright, I'll reset the tyrannofex, put these guys away, and set the next entrant out. Alright, so tyrannofex is back here at the starting line. And you got orcs this time. Got the Death Tread over here hanging out in this alleyway with the boys above it on the 3rd floor here. Beast Snagger boys on the 2nd floor of this building, pretty close to the starting line, because they all pretty much got sluggers. And then just poking out of that last alleyway down there, we have the mech gun with the bubble chucker. Alright, so we're going to start things off with the tyrannofex trying to get a huge advance down the table. He did not get a good advance. In fact, he got a really crappy advance. Oh well, he made it that far, which unfortunately puts him in range of just about everybody. So it's about his turn to get jumped. I don't know, can I really call it getting jumped if he's getting shot at? I don't know. Alright, so between the mech gun and the depth dread, they managed to do 5 points of damage to the tyrannofex. The boys all predictably sucked. So now the tyrannofex gets to move forward again, but this time with awareness of the ambushers. I'm expecting a decent amount of melted orcs, so... Alright, so the tyrannofex made it about halfway down the board now, and completely melted out the boys that were up here. He's just having a grand old time, melting things here, melting things there. It's a good day to be a Tyranid. Alright, so that'll make it the orc turn for shooting. So the depth dread did a point of damage with his twin Scorcho. Nobody else did anything else. That makes it the tyrannofex's turn to move forward again. Alright, so the tyrannofex made it further down. Completely annihilated the mech gun. And I think that means it wins by default because there's nothing within range to shoot at it. So, I mean, it can't be killed, so it's just going to wander its way down to the end on its own there. Which means the orcs don't win this one. I think they did better than they normally do, though. They did 7 damage to it. It's more than I think they've done in the last couple gauntlets they've been in. Alright, we'll reset for the last faction to do this. I'll reset it. Alright, so here we go with the last faction to try and kill this thing. It is the Necron. So the two Locust Heavy Destroyers are across from each other on this third floor in the middle here. One group of warriors is here kind of at the beginning, all bunched up. And then the other group of 10 warriors is over here in the alleyway. Alright, so we'll start this one and see how far the tyrannofex goes. I said at the beginning that I'm biased. I do prefer the Necrons over all of my other factions. So I think they're going to kill it. I think they've killed everyone that they've participated in, so... We'll see if they can, kill this one off too. I mean, granted, these two Heavy Destroyers killed off a Chaos Knight. A tyrannofex shouldn't be that big of a problem. So the advance rolls for this guy, all 5 times now, has either been really, really crappy or a 6. This time it was really, really crappy, again. Stopped him pretty much directly in front of these guys. Alright, well, it's time to get ambushed. Alright, this thing just got bludgeoned really, really well. Between the Heavy Destroyer on this right side and these Necron Warriors with the God's Reapers. They managed to do 8 damage to this tyrannofex. Yeah, they messed it up really, really well. That makes it its turn now. Alright, so he moved forward his regular distance, and apparently there's something dastardly wrong with being on the top floor of this side right now, because the living metal didn't stand a chance against that corrosive, crazy-ass Tyranid acid. he killed the Locust Heavy Destroyer. I guess it was here. Either way. I mean, it's not a terrible blow, but it still sucks. He has been killing off those things pretty well. Alright, so more Necron shooting. So between the Locust Heavy Destroyer up here and the Warriors down here on this floor, they managed to get the tyrannofex down to 1 health. Almost killed it. That does make it the tyrannofex's turn to move and hopefully kill off something before... Maybe it'll die. I don't know. I have hopes. Alright, well with 1 health, this thing has a super diminished move. So it made it a little ways. Managed to kill off 3 of the Necron Warriors with its acid spray. Sadly, they did not reanimate, but it is what it is. Alright, so this will be another Necron chance to kill off this Tyrannid before it makes it. The Locust Heavy Destroyer did manage to kill off the tyrannofex. By a whole lot. He did 8 points of damage to something that only had 1 health left. So it's super, super dead. So yay! Necrons win this one. Well, this particular shot in the thing, so... So 3 of these factions managed to kill off the tyrannofex and 2 did not. That's pretty productive, I think. Good to know. I think the only unit or model I have left to put through the gauntlet is the Rogaldorn battle tank. And I don't think that the Necrons are going to be doing as well against that thing. Not sure when I'll get around to doing that video. Probably after the new year. I got a big, crazy idea for an end-of-the-year game. So we'll see if I can actually manage to pull it out before the end of the year. If you made it to the end of the video, I do appreciate it. Especially on these weird experimental kind of things that I do. It was super interesting. It was super awesome actually being able to field the Imperial Guard and the AdMech. I hadn't really thought about splitting the heavy support like that before. I don't know why, but I just hadn't. So yeah, it was nice to be able to have those guys in here to see what they can do, because Jesus God, those Imperial Guard can just knock the crap out of stuff. So yeah, I wouldn't mind having like a squadron of tanks of those guys and like a couple thousand points of just artillery stuff. Future plans. Thanks again for watching and have a wonderful day.